Welcome back, Physical Science 20. So hopefully you had a chance to do this. So of course, the first thing we have to do is figure out the molar mass of nitrogen gas and the molar mass of sodium azide. So the molar mass of nitrogen, of course, as you can see here, we have, for every 1 mole of nitrogen gas, we have 2 moles of nitrogen. So 2 times 14.01 equals 28.02 grams per mole. And sodium azide, kind of a weird combination here, isn't it? So we're going to find the molar mass of that. For every 1 mole of sodium azide, we have 1 mole of sodium and 3 moles of nitrogen. So sodium, 22.99, and nitrogen, 14.01. So 22.99 plus 42.03 gives us 65.02 grams per mole. All right, so starting off, 87.5 grams of nitrogen gas, and we're going to go from grams on the bottom to moles on top. Grams of nitrogen to moles of nitrogen, and of course we accomplished that by looking at the molar mass. 1 mole is 28.02 grams. So of course where you're starting from goes on the bottom, where you're going to goes on top, and then it works out nicely. So right now we're here. Now we have to go from moles to moles. So what goes on the bottom? 3 moles of nitrogen to 2 moles of sodium azide. 3 moles of nitrogen to 2 moles of sodium azide. And of course cancel. We know that we're doing it right. And we are now here. So the last step, going from moles to grams of sodium azide. So moles on the bottom, grams on top. Moles of sodium azide to grams of sodium azide. And of course, that amount is this. 1 mole is 65.02. And of course, that cancels with that. So we're in good shape. So multiply all the numerators, divide by the denominators. I think you get 135.3616 grams of sodium azide. And if we look here, we got 3 sig figs. 3 sig figs. This is a 3. So that's going to simply stay as 135 grams of sodium azide. Good. So hopefully you got that. Let's take a look at the next example. Alright, so let's take a look at the next one here. A typical antacid tablet contains 0.50 grams of calcium nitrate. I think that should say calcium carbonate. Let's change that to a C. Or maybe it's changed on your paper, but yeah, it should say calcium carbonate. The chemical equation for the neutralization of hydrochloric acid with calcium carbonate. So of course you make hydrochloric acid in your stomach, so you can neutralize it with a tablet, right? So we have 0.5 G's of this. And there's 2 questions here. So what mass of hydrochloric acid will this mass of calcium carbonate neutralize? So the first step is this. We're going to figure out moles of calcium carbonate, and of course go to moles of hydrochloric acid, and then go back to G. So the same type of thing here, right? And then part B, what mass of calcium chloride will be produced? So doing the same thing, except we're going all the way over here. So 2 different ones. So we're looking at how much hydrochloric acid I require to completely use this up in a stoichiometric amount, and then going from here to here. So before we do that, grams to moles, we're going to have to figure out the molar mass of this. Grams to mole, we're going to have to figure out the molar mass of this. And grams to mole, we're going to have to figure out the molar mass of that. So maybe we'll do that first. So the molar mass of calcium carbonate and the molar mass of HCl, because we're going to have to do that. And lastly, that's part B, we're going to have to know the molar mass of calcium chloride. So let's see here, the molar mass. So for every 1 mole of calcium carbonate, I have 1 mole of calcium, 1 mole of carbon, 3 moles of oxygen. So 40.08, 1 times 12.01, and 3 times 16. So that's going to give a grand total of 100.09 grams per mole. And HCl. For every 1 mole of HCl, I have 1 mole of H and 1 mole of Cl. So H is 1.01 grams, Cl 35.45. So of course that's going to give me 36.46 grams per mole. And I might as well do, even though this one's in part B, I might as well do it now as well. So for every 1 mole of calcium chloride, I have 1 mole of calcium and 2 moles of chloride. It's 35.45, so we can still see that. So 40.08 plus 70.90 is going to give me 110.98 grams per mole. All right, so what you may want to do is pause the video so you can do the first one here. Then you can unpause the video and see how you did, and then we'll do the last one. So part A, to set you up here, 0.50 grams of calcium carbonate. And then we're going to have those 3 steps, right? So maybe pause the video and see if you can go through those 3 steps right there. So go ahead, pause it, try it out. Okay, hopefully you had a chance to do that. So going from grams to mole, first of all, 100.09 grams of calcium carbonate is 1 mole of calcium carbonate. So I am right here. Then of course the next step, going from 1 mole to 2 moles. 1 mole of calcium carbonate to 2 moles of HCl. So now I'm over here. And of course the last step, moles of HCl to grams of HCl. Moles of HCl to grams of HCl. And of course look at this, cancel, cancel. Cancel, cancel. Cancel, cancel. So if you put that in your calculator, I think you get 0.364271 grams. And of course, if I look at sig figs, 2 sig figs, 2 sig figs, this is a 4, so that's just going to simply be 0.36 grams of HCl. All right. Again, maybe pause the video and you try the second example now, going from calcium carbonate to calcium chloride. All right, hopefully you had a chance to do that. So part B, starting off with the same amount here. Now I could have jumped over to here, moles, but I'll just simply start over again here, right here. All right, so we'll set it up the same way. For 1 mole of calcium carbonate. So again, we're over here, we have moles of calcium carbonate. But this time we're going to go from moles of calcium carbonate to moles of calcium chloride. Now, as you can see here, it's a 1-to-1 ratio. Ideally, that's not going to change anything mathematically, but you still need to include this step to illustrate that we're going from moles of calcium carbonate to moles of calcium chloride. So you still need to have that step there just to illustrate that we're now over here. Okay, and then lastly, change to grams by using the molar mass. So 1 mole of calcium chloride is 110 grams of calcium chloride. So that cancels. If you plug that in your calculator, I think we get 0.5544 grams of calcium chloride. But again, we got 2 sig figs, 2 sig figs. That's a 4. So that's just going to simply stay as 0.55 grams calcium chloride. So same process for A and B. Okay, I think we'll call that video quits. We'll have one more video talking about the stoichiometric amount, and we'll look at one example from the assignment too. So I'll see you back in the next video.